It is difficult enough to imagine a time, roughly 13.8 billion years ago, when the entire universe existed as a singularity. According to the Big Bang Theory, one of the main contenders vying to explain how the universe came to be, all the matter in the cosmos, all of space itself, existed in a form smaller than a subatomic particle. Once you think about that, an even more difficult question arises: what existed just before the Big Bang occurred? The question itself predates modern cosmology by at least 1,600 years. 4th century theologian Saint Augustine wrestled with the nature of God before the creation of the universe. His answer? Time was part of God's creation, and there simply was no before that a deity could call home. Armed with the best physics of the 20th century, Albert Einstein came to very similar conclusions with his theory of relativity. Just consider the effect of mass on time. A planet's hefty mass warps time, making time run a tiny bit slower for a human on Earth's surface than a satellite in orbit. The difference is too small to notice, but time even runs more slowly for someone standing next to a large boulder than it does for a person standing alone in a field. The pre-Big Bang singularity possessed all the mass in the universe, effectively bringing time to a standstill. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time only came into being as that primordial singularity expanded toward its current size and shape. Case closed. Far from it, this is one COSM logical quandary that won't stay dead. In the decades following Einstein's death, the advent of quantum physics and a host of new theories resurrected questions about the pre-Big Bang universe. Here's a thought: what if our universe is but the offspring of another, older universe? Some astrophysicists speculate that this story is written in the relic radiation left over from the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background, CMB. Astronomers first observed the CMB in 1965, and it quickly created problems for the Big Bang Theory, problems that were subsequently addressed, for a while, in 1981 with the inflation theory. This theory entails an extremely rapid expansion of the universe in the first few moments of its existence. It also accounts for temperature and density fluctuations in the CMB, but dictates that those fluctuations should be uniform. Other scientists place the formation of the singularity inside a cycle called the Big Bounce, in which our expanding universe will eventually collapse back in on itself in an event called the Big Crunch. A singularity once more, the universe will then expand in another Big Bang. This process would be eternal and, as such, every Big Bang and Big Crunch the universe ever experiences would be nothing but a rebirth into another phase of existence. The last explanation we'll discuss also supports the idea of a cyclical universe, courtesy of string theory. It surmises that new matter and energy spring into existence every trillion years when two extra-dimensional membranes, or branes, collide in a zone outside our universe. What existed before the Big Bang? It's still an open question. Perhaps nothing. Perhaps another universe or a different version of our own. Perhaps a sea of universes, each with a different set of laws dictating its physical reality. Once Stephen Hawking discussed whether time itself has a beginning, and whether it will have an end. All the evidence seems to indicate that the universe has not existed forever, but that it had a beginning, about 15 billion years ago. This is probably the most remarkable discovery of modern cosmology. Yet it is now taken for granted. We are not yet certain whether the universe will have an end. When he gave a lecture in Japan, he was asked not to mention the possible recollapse of the universe, because it might affect the stock market. However, I can reassure anyone who is nervous about their investments that it is a bit early to sell. Even if the universe does come to an end, it won't be for at least 20 billion years. The time scale of the universe is very long compared to that for human life. It was therefore not surprising that until recently, the universe was thought to be essentially static, and unchanging in time. On the other hand, it must have been obvious that society is evolving in culture and technology. This indicates that the present phase of human history cannot have been going for more than a few thousand years. Otherwise, we would be more advanced than we are. It was therefore natural to believe that the human race, and maybe the whole universe, had a beginning in the fairly recent past. However, many people were unhappy with the idea that the universe had a beginning, because it seemed to imply the existence of a supernatural being who created the universe. They preferred to believe that the universe, and the human race, had existed forever. Their explanation for human progress was that there had been periodic floods, or other natural disasters, which repeatedly set back the human race to a primitive state. The conclusion of this video is that the universe has not existed forever. Rather, the universe, and time itself, had a beginning in the Big Bang, about 15 billion years ago. The beginning of real time would have been a singularity, at which the laws of physics would have broken down. Nevertheless, the way the universe began would have been determined by the laws of physics, if the universe satisfied the no-boundary condition. This says that in the imaginary time direction, space-time is finite in extent, but doesn't have any boundary or edge. The predictions of the no-boundary proposal seem to agree with observation. The no-boundary hypothesis also predicts that the universe will eventually collapse again. However, the contracting phase will not have the opposite arrow of time to the expanding phase. So we will keep on getting older, and we won't return to our youth. Because time is not going to go backwards. If you found this video interesting, then don't forget leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and give us an idea about the next topic, down below in the comment section. Because no one knows when there will be an end.